How do you get out of a toxic relationship? And when I say toxic relationship, this is going to be in a different category than what we would say is an abusive relationship, because there are different steps that you need to take if you are being physically, emotionally, or spiritually abused in a relationship. But when we talk about toxic relationships are about near a dime a dozen. And so once you recognize that you're in a toxic relationship, how do you get out of a toxic relationship? So tip number one is that you really do have to physically remove yourself. That means that you have to put some physical earthly distance between you and that person. That means that if you're living with them, you're going to have to move out. That means that if you work with them, you're going to have to find a new job. And I know some of us are like, well, why do I have to change? Well, you change because you control you. You don't control the other person. And if you want to be rid of yourself of the toxic person or the toxic relationship, then it's up to you to own that power to change, and you make the change. So physically remove yourself from that toxic person or that toxic relationship. Tip number two is now you have to emotionally and mentally remove yourself from that person. You see, when it comes to relationships, we tend to be emotionally attached to them. We visualize ourselves with them. We think about them all the time. So now what we have to do is disconnect from them. That means now that you put some physical distance between them, let's stop looking at their pictures. Let's stop calling them. Let's stop texting them. Let's stop following them on social media, so that you're not constantly thinking about them. Because if you constantly see them, if you see reminders of them, if you see them showing up on social media, if you're always looking at pictures, guess what? You're always going to be emotionally and mentally attached to them. So do what you need to do to emotionally and mentally detach from them. And of course, it's going to take time, but what's important is that you control, you take charge of your mental thoughts, you take charge of your emotional state, and begin the disconnection process. Tip number three is now you want to spiritually elevate yourself. One of the things that happens when you're in a toxic relationship is that you begin to unknowingly misalign yourself with God. So now you want to realign yourself with who you are on a spiritual basis. Whatever that looks like to you, that could be going to church, it could be prayer, that could be meditation. But do what you got to do to get back in alignment with God's will and God's purpose for your life, so that this scenario, this experience of being in a toxic relationship does not repeat itself. All right, you guys, so those are my 3 tips for you on how to remove yourself from a toxic relationship. Again, my name is Sharika Matthews, life coach, relationship expert, and creator of Feminine Success Mastery. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.